Welcome to another amazing community group. I hope you've had a great time already sharing some food together and spending some time together. Let's start off getting to know each other a little more. So I want you to answer this question, and it has to do with your family of origin, and it's this. Who did you grow up with, and how was that for you? Spend some time talking about it now. As you saw on Sunday, we've been continuing in the book of Nehemiah as we looked at chapter 9. And so we just got done with them really focusing on the word very heavily as Ezra the priest got up and read it to the people. And now we see the people confessing their sins and feeling a deep conviction of their sins and seeing God's mercy and faithfulness as the Levites continue to tell them to praise and get into the word. And then we see this awesome thing happen for most of the chapter. And it's the Levites reminding the people of the history of God and creating the world and then electing Abraham and through him the nation of Israel and caring for them and being with them all the way up to this point. And so Nehemiah wants us to see that the Levites tell the people about their history, that God has been faithful, that he chose them, loved them, created them for his glory, for his worship, but that God's people tend to get comfortable, to become disobedient and rebel, whether it's from pride or sin or just out of comfort and forgetfulness. And so he lets us see kind of these cycles that Israel does as God is faithful, and then they start to get comfortable and they rebel against him and they cry out to him and he shows them mercy and saves them. And it kind of goes like that over and over. And I'm sure most of us can relate to some of that God saved us and we were grateful. And then we have gotten comfortable in our Christianity and our walk with him at times and strayed away or rebelled or become disobedient. And I think it's important that we kind of look back at God's mercy and God's faithfulness, that he has constantly drawn us to himself, shown up in that story, been there when we cried out to him. And so what I'd love for you to do today, and it's a little bit different than most community groups, I don't have a bunch of questions for you. I want you to tell some of your story. I want you to talk about when God saved you, and since then, where you can see some of the lines of when you've been closest to him or when you've kind of turned away, but that you've seen your own rebellion, but because of that, seen God's mercy and his faithfulness in your story to bring you to today. And so spend a bunch of time, go around, and for those that feel comfortable, please share so we get to know each other as we learn to follow Jesus together with friends. And so do that now. Hopefully you had a great time getting to know each other and hearing some of each other's stories and seeing God's mercy and faithfulness and love and his just constant pursuit of us and our hearts and his regular forgiveness and grace extended to us. And that would move us to worship him and want to praise him with every area of our life. And what we see at the very end of chapter 9 is that the Levites and the people, they write down an agreement, basically a binding covenant, to say, in view of all that God's done, in view of his faithfulness, we will now make these changes and live our lives accordingly. And so I'd love for you to just consider, and I don't think we need to necessarily share and talk about or answer a question in this, but just consider what it is, what it would be for you to really, in view of what God's done, in view of who he is, set yourself on ways that will glorify him and make the changes necessary to most do so. And so think about that for yourself, and then go ahead and ask each other for prayer requests that you can be praying for. And I love you. I'll see you on Sunday. Oh, and one last thing. Starting now, the questions each week for community groups will be on the app. And so if you go to the Roots Community Church app, you can find the questions already built in. So you can actually sit on Sunday and look at the questions so that you can answer them before your group comes. I know some of you will feel more confident with that. So hope it helps. Love you. Can't wait to see you on Sunday. Peace.